In software engineering, we are taking chapter number 4, process models, and we are following the book from Pressman and Maximum, the software engineering a practitioner's approach. Evolutionary process models or software development life cycles. Evolutionary or evolution means going from or changing from certain initial being. For example, human being. We have evolved from, say, monkeys. Similarly, software also evolves over a period of time. Today's business and product requirement, they are ever changing. There is a competition. So every business have very fast and growing needs. For that, if you follow a straight line path, for example, waterfall model, the end product or making of an end product will be unrealistic in the present scenario. It will be very difficult. Today, everyone wants, whenever he comes to you for a software, for an app, or say a website, they need certain limited version, a kind of a prototype, a kind of a working software. In this kind of situation, we need a SDLC or a process model that has been designed and made to accommodate, incorporate the change, the growing nature of the product and the business needs of your customer. Evolutionary models are iterative. Iterative means loop. For one loop, you will get some version. Another loop, you will get another version. So iterative means going around, taking care of all the SDLC steps, and then you get a one iteration. Again, going through all the steps, you get the second iteration. It's like a loop, for loop or a while loop. So evolutionary process, these are the models. They produce or they give us the increasingly more complete version like version 1, version 2 till the version which is accepted by the user. And in this, each iteration is something added to the previous iteration. Prototype model. If you are an architect and someone comes to you, make my house, will you be starting the work, means to make the house? You will make a model first. Then you will put it in front of the user and then he will get some idea. So when customer just defines the basic objectives, that is, I want to make a home. For example, a software person who wants to make a software, he'll say, I'll want to make a software like this. But he is not aware what are the functions and feature he would need. He doesn't know the detailed requirement. So he cannot tell you as a software engineer what functions and feature they want. This is pertaining to the customer. But developer also has certain issues that the algorithm he has used, it might not be efficient. For example, file transfer. Now say 1 MB file he is transferring in 1 minute. Now it is highly likely that for this 1 MB there are algorithms that can take, say, a second or a millisecond. So the developer is very unsure about the algorithm he'll be using, whether it is efficient or not. So in this kind of scenario, the prototyping paradigm, prototype model, SDLC model is the best approach. So here, the prototyping paradigm will help you as a software engineer and the stakeholder like your customers. You can both understand the issue, the problem, the solution and the requirements. So this prototype is used when the requirements are not clear, they are fuzzy. So all this starts with communication, because in order to know the requirement, you need to talk, you need to communicate, you need to have a meeting. So this communication is the basic aspect. Now, you meet with all the stakeholders, the customers and other stakeholders, then you will decide the overall objective. And then the requirements are known, and then what all other discussions are necessary, because maybe some requirements are still fuzzy. So you need certain more say requirement 2 is not clear to you. There's a certain requirement. You need to talk. So prototyping iteration is basically a quick version to be put in front of the user. For that, you make a quick design as a software engineer. So here, that quick design or a quick prototype or quick version of the software is visible to the end user. For example, 1 year is given to you to make a software. In 1 month, you make a prototype just to give a feel what will be the human interface layout, how you're going to click or you are going to interact with the software. What are the formats, output display formats, input formats, how the menus will be there, what will be the working area. So this prototype, the first prototype means actually it's a prototype, not a full version. This is given to the stakeholder. Now he has something in his hand as a user. Now he can give you feedback because he is still not aware of what he wants. But now he can give you feedback. Now you can refine the requirements. Okay. So why iteration is done? Iteration is again going back through the same loop because now you want to fine tune the requirement. Because once the requirement he has given, you need to refine it because the software has to be perfect. For that, you need to be very clear about the requirements. So the prototype, what you are giving, say 1 month, 1 year software, 1 month you are giving. This is all about identifying the clear software requirement, what the user want, what the user function and features you are going to put in the software. So prototype is like a first system, first product you are giving to the user to evaluate. Most of the time, this prototype is a throwaway. Means you will give the prototype, customer will give you feedback and you just throw it in the dustbin. But there are certain projects, this throwaway will become the actual system. This is always possible in the prototype model. So normally the first prototype is always a throwaway which you just give to be evaluated to clear the requirements. Now both you and as a software engineer and the consumer, they're very happy. Why? They both have some advantages here. First, as a developer, you are getting the software project and you are just starting to work because you are going to make the prototype. So you're quite happy. As a user, he is also happy because for 1 or 2 years of project, he is getting the product in just 1 or 2 months. So he can feel it. He can work with it. He knows what he is getting. But the problem with prototype is what? First of all, you will give a working version of the software as a prototype. Okay. Now, when you are making a prototype, you are not considering the quality of the software. You are not putting any effort for the software quality assurance, even for the software engineering aspect like maintainability, etc. So when you give this to the user will say, oh, I want it. Just do these few fixes, put this button here and put this function and give it to me. But the software development management, they know what they have made. So they will relent. They will not give it. There's one more thing. Maybe the algorithm you have used to make a prototype, you might be using some different operating system. You might have used programming language which is not the proper programming language for this particular project. So the OS you are using, the programming language so Java you have used, C# will be better. And the algorithm you have used, they are quite inefficient. Okay. But this will be a part of the system as a prototype and this will become the final system. So it will become the integral part and you know that this is not fair. The algorithm is inefficient. So this will become the final software. That is the problem. The spiral model. First, it's not a circular model. It's not a circuit. It's a spiral. Okay. This spiral is the core of this SDLC model. So this is a software development model proposed by the great Barry Boehm. So here we will see different kind of observation people have for this particular model. So I'll take all the observation. So this spiral model is an evolutionary process, software process model. That is, it will evolve. You'll start with a small version, then you will increase. So it includes the waterfall model, the systematic and controlled approach of a waterfall model, and the iterative nature of prototype. Somewhere you will hear that it is iterative plus waterfall model. No, it's a waterfall model with the prototype model, and the prototype will be iterative in nature. The prototype will be iterative. Prototype will go in loops. You will make one prototype, then another prototype, and then you will follow the systematic route of waterfall model. And you know waterfall model have one by one. There is no coming back. But here, when you make a prototype, there is a coming back. From communication till deployment. This is the controlled and systematic waterfall model because it is a well-defined model. But you are adding the prototyping and the iterative nature of prototyping. Okay. So let me tell you, you will hear that this is how this 4 quadrants you will see in a spiral model. First, you have to plan. Now you have a budget. You have to plan according to the budget. You have to plan what will be the development. You have to plan the project. You have to plan the time, cost, schedule, everything, and the test planning. Then you have to determine the goal in the second quadrant. That is, what are the alternatives? What are the constraints beyond which you cannot go? Then finally, the most important part of this spiral model is evaluating the risk. Every time, for every spiral, there is a full quadrant given to the risk analysis. What are the risks? That will cost you the cost, budget, and the time. Then finally, the development and the test. Development test is, you are using all the SDLC part, whichever you choose. Okay, here, we'll be using the waterfall model. Okay, the 4th quadrant is all about the waterfall model. So risk analysis is an important part. The 4th one is development test. From here you will start with the requirement, then analysis design, and then you will do the coding, then testing, and finally the deployment. Verification, validation, deployment, like this. So this, how far you go will be the cost. This is the distance, and this is the angular distance is where you are in this spiral model. So what Barry Boehm has said, because he is the creator of this model. So he said, this is a rapid development. Every time we get a complete version of the software, increasingly complete version of the software. So if you have a big project, complex project, the spiral model is a risk-driven process model generator. This is a definition. You don't have to learn it, but just understand. He is saying that it is risk-driven process model. And this is for software intensive system. So you are applying different concurrent engineering aspect, software engineering aspect here. So this spiral model is different from others. It has 2 distinguishing features. One is a cyclic approach. You see here, it is like a cycle. One cycle you go to complete certain work. Then again, you have to go to another cycle, right? So in cyclic approach, you are incrementally growing the system degree of definition. That is, you are understanding more and then implementing so that you can decrease the risk. The second distinguishing feature is the anchor point milestone. Because once you complete one spiral, there has to be some output. And what is the output? Which is agreed upon and satisfying the consumer. Because you are committed to the stakeholder. So anchor point milestone is you are giving something to them. Okay. Software here in spiral model is developed in series of evolutionary releases. Version 1, version 2, version n. When you start the iterations, iteration is all about looping. You're going all loop once, then again like this. So when you do the early iteration, the release might be a prototype. It can be a model also. That is why we are saying it is iterative nature of prototype plus the waterfall model. So first maybe the prototype, then you go to other different iteration. Here you will give version 2, version 3 like this. Now this spiral model, if we just take the framework activities, because we know the basic SDLC framework activities are communication, planning, modeling, construction, deployment. So how do we define the spiral model with respect to the framework activity? We have to communicate, then plan, then model, then construct, That is, actual coding is done here, and filing the deployment. So how do we use this spiral model? So spiral model is divided into, if you take a circle, let me make a circle, then there are certain segment, you can call it as sector. So every sector will represent the framework activity from communication till deployment. For example, we are starting with communication. So this part, this segment of the spiral is for communication. This particular part will be for communication because you are communicating and getting the requirement from the user. Now you are planning. That is what will be your schedule, time, project planning, the development plan, the test plan, and here you are going to use the risk analysis. This is very important. Then you will go to the third segment, modeling, analysis, design. Then you will go to the fourth, construction, and then you are going to deployment. So this is the clockwise direction you have to go. You'll start with the center. So the software team is going to perform this activity. Every circle, you can say, or every spiral activity will give certain result. And every time you have to do the risk analysis. In this case, we are talking about the framework activity. Here we are taking one segment where we will do this risk analysis. An anchor point milestone, as I said, there will be some output, the work product. And for one evolutionary pass, that is one spiral you complete, there will be some milestone. There will be some work product. There will be some release version. And how do we understand this? Initially, we are not much aware. We don't want to develop it. First circuit, you can say that we are developing the product specification or the requirement you are generating. You are understanding the software. This is the first one. You can understand it like this. First spiral, you are trying to generate the requirement. So here also you have to do all the thing. That is, you have to do the risk analysis. You have to do, because maybe first we'll develop a prototype. For that you have to do the development also activity. And every time you do it, every pass, you are adjusting, because this is all about your software manager. You are adjusting the plan. So here the plan can also be adjusted. Most of the SDLC plans cannot be adjusted. Here plan can be adjusted because you are getting the delivery. And you are saying that you are getting feedback also. So the cost and schedule can be readjusted. So now the project manager will decide how many iteration it wants, because the spiral cannot go on and on. So the first circuit, as I said, can be said as the concept development project. This is the core of the spiral. And then this is the first one. Okay. Because this is a risky project. Maybe it is a complex project. It is a big project. For that, it is mandatory to understand the concept. As I said, this output can be just a model or it can just be a prototype. Then you move ahead to the next round or iteration of the spiral. Here you are saying that we are actually developing the project. So new product development project. Third, it can be enhancement, because once you have developed, it can be enhancement. You need to enhance the software because the changes or the requirement can come. And finally, the other spiral, the outward spiral, can be the support or the maintenance, product maintenance project, you can say. So this spiral model is a realistic approach, what you see here, for large scale system, big softwares. And here we use the prototyping, very important, the iterative nature of prototyping for risk reduction. Because if you make the whole software and there is a problem, you will lose the time and budget. So better to make a prototype and put it in front of the user. There will be a risk reduction, and even the software team will know what are the risks. So here we are applying the prototype approach for risk reduction every time, because it is iterative prototyping. Okay. It is not iterative, no, it is prototyping iteration. So you can do the prototyping at any stage of the software development life cycle, here framework activities. So it also, once you have done this prototyping, then you will maintain the classic life cycle. So classic life cycle is the waterfall model. You start with communication, planning, modeling, construction, deployment in a serial manner. Okay. So every time you may have a prototype in between also. So the problem with spiral model is, first of all, you can see it's quite complex. but it is for the complex project. It is very difficult to convince the customer because customer may not know certain things that you can control it or not. And the main part of this spiral model is risk analysis. If you know the quadrant I told you earlier, there is one part whole dedicated to risk analysis. If the person who is dedicated to the work, he may not be competent to find out the risk, and that will be a disaster, because the risk analysis is the core part of this spiral model. If the major risks remain uncovered, the problem, the cost, the estimation will all fail. So this is the spiral model problems, but still it is being used widely. Concurrent model. So this model we are going to take in the next discussion. Till then, thank you so much. Take care of yourself.